They sold off every young woman in town. When the search team finally found them, only one girl was left, her hair gone, her spirit broken, and carrying a baby who'd never know its dad. Magnolia Voss woke up to a creepy quiet. Not the nice morning calm, but an eerie silence that screamed trouble. Her boarding house, usually buzzing with 6 girls chatting, felt like a graveyard. She shouted their names, Willa, Clarice, Bonnie, Nell, Ivy, Tessa, as she checked the empty rooms. No one answered, just her voice bouncing back. The front door was wide open, swinging in the breeze. Footprints in the dust told a scary story. She didn't want to believe. Too many men's boots, signs of a fight. Her girls were gone. Magnolia had taken these girls in when no one else cared. Most were orphans, with no place to go, no family to love them. She gave them jobs, a safe home, and something special in Copper Ridge: respect. Now, someone had stolen that. The town sheriff, a lazy guy named Porter Dale, barely glanced up from his coffee when she rushed to his office. He muttered about girls running away or being wild. But Magnolia knew her girls didn't run. They'd finally found a home. Word spread fast through the dusty streets. Other families checked on their daughters. 3 more girls were missing from the north side, 2 from the merchant area. 9 girls vanished like smoke. By noon, mad dads and brothers gathered in the town square. Someone said they saw fancy strangers the night before, men in nice clothes with fancy carriages heading east to the Badlands. Another person heard wagon wheels on the streetway past midnight. Clyde Rafferty, a guy with a gray mustache who seemed worried, showed up in the crowd. He offered to pay for a search team, saying his niece was one of the missing girls. He seemed kind, but something about his eyes gave Magnolia the chills. The search team came together fast, 20 guys on horses, ready with guns. They followed wagon tracks through bushes and rocky hills, going deep into places good people avoided. 3 days out, they found a clue: bits of torn dresses caught on thorns. Magnolia's heart pounded when she saw fabric from Clarice's dress. But as they kept going, the tracks split. Some went north, others south, like the kidnappers wanted to confuse them. Then, in a dark canyon, they found a camp. Empty tents, cold campfires, signs someone had been there recently, but no people. Only one building had someone inside, a rickety wooden shack that smelled like fear. Inside, they found Willa Glenn, barely looking like herself. Her pretty blonde hair was shaved off, leaving red scratches on her head. Her dress was torn and filthy, and her belly showed she was pregnant. She was all alone. The scariest find wasn't. Willa's stated was a notebook hidden under a floorboard. It had pages of names, prices, and places written neatly like a list of sold animals. Every missing girl from Copper Ridge was in there. Willa's name had one word next to it that made Magnolia freeze: returned. Willa couldn't talk for a whole day. She just stared, her hands always protecting her belly. When Magnolia tried to touch her, Willa jumped like a scared puppy. The girl who used to laugh at everything was now afraid of her own shadow. The men wanted answers right away, asking where the other girls went, who did this, how it happened. But Willa just shook her head and shut down. Magnolia sent the men back to town. Forcing Willa to talk wouldn't help. She needed time, and those angry dads didn't have any patience left. Back in Copper Ridge, people got mean. Families blamed each other. Some said the missing girls caused their own trouble. Others whispered about curses or God's punishment. The teamwork from the search fell apart into fear and mistrust. Clyde Rafferty was everywhere, comforting sad families, setting up prayer meetings, giving money for supplies. He seemed so generous, but Magnolia noticed he never asked about Willa or what she might have seen. On the 3rd night, Willa finally spoke, whispering so softly Magnolia almost missed it. "They're gone." "Who's gone, sweetie?" "The other girls?" Willa nodded, tears falling. All of them were sold, shipped off like packages. Over the next few hours, Willa shared bits of the story. Men in fancy clothes came to the boarding house at night. They put something in the dinner to make the girls sleepy, but awake, unable to fight back. They were loaded into wagons and taken to a place Willa called a market for men with weird tastes. The girls were cleaned up, dressed in white gowns and sold like fancy horses. Willa's voice cracked as she told how Clarice was sold to a man going to California, Bonnie to someone headed to Mexico, and the others sent to faraway places. Why did they bring you back? Magnolia asked gently. Willa touched her belly. Because of the baby. Nobody wanted a pregnant girl. The cruelty hit Magnolia hard. These monsters stole innocent girls and tossed Willa aside like trash because she was pregnant. They shaved her head to punish her and left her behind. But something in Willa's story didn't add up. She said the man running the auction had scars on his hands and a gold tooth that shone in the light. She heard him talk about the next shipment from Copper Ridge, like this wasn't their first crime. Magnolia realized this wasn't random, it was planned. Someone in town was helping these bad guys, telling them which families had daughters, which houses were easy to hit, and which girls wouldn't be missed much. If Willa was right about plans for another shipment, more girls were in danger. The nightmare was just starting. Magnolia couldn't trust Sheriff Porterdale. He didn't care about finding the girls and brushed it off too quickly, like he was scared or part of it. If there was a traitor in town, it could be anyone. She decided to investigate herself. While Willa rested, Magnolia walked through town, looking for clues she'd missed. Who had extra money? Who acted nervous when the girls were mentioned? Who asked too many questions about the search? The first hint came from old Martha Whitmore. At the general store, she pulled Magnolia aside, hands shaking. I was scared to say anything, Martha whispered. But strange men have been coming to town for weeks, asking about young women, paying with gold coins. She saw them talking to people, including Clyde Rafferty, asking which girls had families and which were alone. Especially about Magnolia's boarding house. It clicked. This wasn't random. The bad guys picked girls who wouldn't be missed much, so no one would chase them too hard. Magnolia went back to Willa, who was sitting up, looking a bit better. Willa had something new to say. Miss Magnolia, the man with the gold tooth, the auction guy, I heard him call someone his partner. He said their plan in Copper Ridge was working great, and they should do it in other towns. Willa's voice got stronger. The partners. Voice, I know it from somewhere in town, but I can't remember where. Knowing a town person was behind this made Magnolia furious, but she stayed calm. Accusing the wrong person could let the real bad guy escape, and more girls would get hurt. That evening, Clyde Rafferty came by with soup for Willa, asking gentle questions about what happened. He seemed caring, but Magnolia watched him closely. His questions focused on what Willa remembered about the place and people. When Willa mentioned the gold-toothed man, Rafferty's jaw tightened just a bit. When she talked about the partner's familiar voice, his fingers tapped his knee once before he stopped himself. Poor girl, he said softly. Bad memories can trick you. Sometimes you think you know a voice, but it's just fear. After Tilda. System. He left. Willa grabbed Magnolia's arm, her eyes wide. That's him, she whispered. That's the voice I heard with the gold-toothed man. Mr. Rafferty is the partner. Everything fell into place. Clyde Rafferty's sudden money, his big donations that seemed to buy people's trust, his knowledge of which families had daughters. He'd been watching the town like a hawk, picking out girls and gaining trust so no one would suspect him. Magnolia was shaking with anger but stayed calm. Accusing him without proof would only let him slip away. She needed evidence and had to protect other girls in danger. Willa, think hard. Did you hear them say when the next shipment is? Willa closed her eyes, remembering. They mentioned waiting for the dark moon, when it's harder to see wagons at night. The new moon was 5 days away. Magnolia felt time pressing down like a heavy weight. Somewhere in Copper Ridge, other girls were being watched for the next sale. She had to move fast, but first, she needed to know how big Rafferty's scheme was. That night, Magnolia sneaked to Rafferty's fancy house on the rich side of town. The windows were dark, except for his study, where a lamp glowed behind curtains. She crept around until she found a small gap in the curtains. Inside, her stomach churned. Rafferty sat at a desk covered with papers, not business stuff, but notes about town families, their daughters' names, ages, looks, and sketches of houses showing how to get in and out. A map on the wall had pins marking towns. each with numbers. Next to them, Copper Ridge wasn't his first target. It wasn't even his 10th. She watched him write in a notebook, adding details about new girls to take. 6 more girls were on his list, including daughters of families who helped the search. Like they were being punished. One name stopped her cold. Emma Dale, 16, the sheriff's daughter, living alone with her dad. Even Porter Dale's laziness wouldn't save his daughter from Rafferty's greed. As she watched, Rafferty counted gold coins from a small bag payment for his crimes, or maybe in advance for more. The coins clinked softly, each one tied to a stolen life. A floorboard creaked under Magnolia, and Rafferty's head snapped up. Their eyes met through the window for a horrible moment. His face changed from shock to a cold, calculating look as he realized she'd seen everything. He smiled slowly, his mustache twitching, and put a finger to his lips, then pointed to the door. He wanted to talk. Magnolia's gut screamed to run back to Willa and leave town, but running would only delay things. Other girls would suffer if she didn't stop him now. She had 5 days until the new moon to save 6 girls from the horror that took Clarice, Bonnie, and the others. But first, she had to survive the talk he clearly wanted. Magnolia didn't wait. She marched to his front door and knocked, her hand steady despite her fear. When Rafferty opened it, his smile was icy. "Magnolia, I wondered when you'd come." "Bye," he said, stepping aside to let her in. The house felt like a trap, but she walked in anyway. Running would make him sure she knew too much, putting Willa in danger. "Drink?" Rafferty asked, pouring whiskey for himself. "I don't drink with men who sell kids," she replied. He laughed, a cold, empty sound. Straight to the point. "I like that. Saves time." He sat in his fancy chair, looking at her like she was a bug. "I've always admired your work, Magnolia. Taking in those girls, giving them a purpose." "We're not so different. We're nothing alike," she shot back. "You take girls nobody wants. I find them homes where they're valued. The only difference is I make money." His cruel words made her sick. "Those girls trusted me. I gave them safety and worth." "Know what Clarice sold for?" he said. $300. More than she'd earn in 5 years at your place. In their new homes, they'll eat well, dress nice, live fancy lives most girls here can't imagine. Magnolia wanted to hit him, but she listened. Every word was proof, and she needed to know his whole plan. "Here's the deal," Rafferty went on, swirling his whiskey. "Take Willa and leave Copper Ridge tonight. Never come back. Never talk about what you saw. In return, I'll skip the other girls on my list. And if I say no?" His smile turned mean. "Then Willa has an accident. Pregnant girls are so fragile, especially after trauma. And the 6 girls on my list will still vanish, but their trip won't be pleasant." The threat hung like poison. Rafferty had planned this. Talk perfectly, offering a terrible choice. Save some girls, but let him go free. "I need time to think," Magnolia said. "You have until tomorrow at sunset. After that, my friends will see you as a problem to get rid of." As she reached the door, Rafferty added one last cruel twist. "Oh, and Magnolia, Willa's baby? It's my partner's, the guy with the gold tooth. He likes certain girls, and when they don't obey," he shrugged. The truth hit hard. Willa's baby came from the abuse of the men running this horror. Outside in the cold night, Magnolia fought back angry tears. Rafferty thought he'd trapped her, but he'd made a mistake. He underestimated what a woman would do for her girls. Back at the boarding house, Willa was awake, staring out the window, her hand on her belly. "He came by while you were gone," Willa said quietly. "Rafferty?" "No, a stranger. Tall, with scars on his hands and a gold tooth." Her voice shook. "He wanted me to know what happens if I talk." Magnolia's heart froze. The gold-toothed man was in town. The danger was closer than ever. What did he say? That accidents happen to girls who remember too much. That babies can come early if their moms are stressed. Willa looked up, scared but strong. "But I heard something he didn't want me to. They're moving the plan to tomorrow night, not waiting for the new moon. They're taking the 6 girls and leaving Copper Ridge for good." The timeline had shrunk to hours. Willa added more. She'd overheard the gold-toothed man say they'd meet at the old mining camp north of town, a forgotten place from the silver mining days. And one more thing, Willis said. He talked about cleaning up loose ends before they leave. I think they plan to kill us, Miss Magnolia. Rafferty's plan was clear. Kill the witnesses, take the girls, and vanish to start over somewhere else with a new name and enough money to seem legit. Magnolia decided she couldn't bargain with monsters or run while others were in danger. If Rafferty wanted a fight, she'd bring it, but she needed help fast. She went to Sheriff Dale's house, finding him drinking alone on his porch. When she told him his daughter Emma was on Rafferty's list, his eyes changed. The lazy sheriff became a scared dad. Emma's visiting her aunt, but she's back tomorrow, he said. Magnolia told him everything. Rafferty's scheme, the planned kidnapping, the tight timeline. Dale's face grew angrier. I'll get every man in town, he said. No, too risky. Rafferty might hear. We need a small group we trust. They picked 4. Dale, the blacksmith whose sister was taken, the hotel owner whose daughter was on the list, and old Dr. Morrison, who'd been in the army and had steady hands. As morning came, Magnolia made a risky plan. It was dangerous, but it could save everyone and bring justice. Unlike Rafferty's deal, the gold-toothed man had slipped up by threatening Willa, revealing the mining camp's location. But first, Magnolia had to keep Willa safe from the coming fight. The old mining camp sat between 2 hills, its empty buildings dark in the afternoon light. Magnolia and her team watched from a ridge as Rafferty's plan unfolded below. 3 wagons arrived with the gold-toothed man and armed guards. 6 scared girls were pulled from the wagons, including Emma Dale, only 16, stumbling as men pushed her toward a building. Patty, the hotel owner's daughter, tried to run and got slapped. Wait for my signal, Magnolia whispered to Sheriff Dale. She'd sent Willa to safety with Dr. Morrison's wife. But Willa had shared one last key detail. The gold-toothed man always carried the notebook with every girl's sale, location, and buyer. Destroying it could stop the whole network. As the sun set, Rafferty showed up, checking the girls like they were animals, nodding sometimes. When he got to Emma, Dale's hands shook with rage. The gold-toothed man came out, holding the notebook, and talked to Rafferty before pointing toward town. Magnolia realized he was about to head back to kill her and Willa. It was now or never. She fired first, hitting a guard near the girls. Dale shot another. The blacksmith and hotel owner charged down, yelling. Chaos broke out. The girls ran for cover while the bad guys grabbed their guns. Rafferty hid behind a wagon, shouting orders no one heard over the shots. The gold-toothed man ran for his horse, clutching the notebook. Magnolia aimed carefully and shot him in the shoulder, making him drop it. Sheriff Dale reached the girls, hiding them behind a tipped-over cart. Stay down, he yelled, sounding like a real sheriff for once. The fight lasted minutes but felt like forever. When it ended, 3 of Rafferty's men were dead. 2 surrendered. The gold-toothed man sat in the dirt, holding his bleeding shoulder, staring at his ruined notebook, its pages scattered. Rafferty knelt, hands up, his fancy clothes torn. The man who caused so much pain looked weak now. You don't get it, he begged. This is bigger than me. There are others, networks everywhere. Killing me won't stop it. Magnolia picked up the notebook's pages, names, prices, places, proof of crimes across states. Maybe not, she said, but it'll stop you. Sheriff Dale stepped up, his badge shining. Clyde Rafferty, you're under arrest for kidnapping, trafficking, and conspiracy. The 6 girls were safe. The notebook would help catch the bigger network. Justice wasn't done, but it was a start. That night, as the bad guys were taken to the courthouse, Magnolia sat with Willa on the boarding house porch. Willa's hand rested on her belly, and she smiled for the first time in weeks. What do you name the baby? Magnolia asked. Hope, Willa said instantly. After all this, hope is what we need most. Magnolia nodded. In a world where innocence was stolen, hope was precious. The other girls, Clarice, Bonnie, and more, were still out there. Finding them would take time and effort, but the notebook gave clues. Their fight wasn't over. Willa had a healthy daughter that winter named Hope, who grew up loved, never knowing how she came to be, only the care that kept her safe. Sheriff Dale changed after saving Emma, spending years chasing the network from Rafferty's notebook, becoming famous for never giving up on missing people. Magnolia reopened her boarding house as a safe place for women escaping bad situations, a spot for healing and new starts. The story of Copper Ridge spread, inspiring other women to fight back. Rafferty died in prison 3 years later, never telling everything, but his notebook shut down operations in 4 areas and saved dozens of girls. The Gold-Toothed Man lived longer, making a deal that saved 17 more women, including 2 of Magnolia's girls. Justice was slow but real. In Copper Ridge, kids grew up hearing about the women who fought evil when it seemed impossible. Showing courage comes from those with the most to lose. If you like this story of bravery and justice in the Old West, please follow our channel and maybe send a super chat. Your support lets us keep sharing these amazing stories of strength and hope. Click the next video for another great tale from the frontier, where regular people faced huge challenges.